Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's edition. It's going to be a special conversation today about faith and finance, something that we are all having a conversation about right now as it pertains to how to navigate during the midst of this COVID pandemic. What do we do when we return to our churches? Will we be stable? What should we be doing now? What should we have done prior to this scenario? And what should we do in the months going forward? It's going to be a great conversation with two amazing ladies. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Evangelist Nietzsche. I am the Marketing and Publications Director for the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World, and I'm excited to talk with you today. All right, as you come in, be sure to hit the share button, hit the like button, and then hit the share button again. Thank you guys for tuning in wherever you are watching this broadcast at. And for those who will catch it on the replay, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. All right. I just want to share a couple things with you before we bring on our guest for today. And first of all, shouts out to our amazing presider, Bishop Theodore L. Brooks Sr., who has been amazing, especially carrying us through this very unique time that we're in. He's an awesome leader, and today we absolutely salute him. We hope he will possibly be on with us later on in the broadcast, so I'll let you guys know if that happens. All right. So let me share just a couple of announcements with you all. Go to PAWinc.org. This is your source for absolutely everything. It's your source for absolutely everything. As you can see here on the PAW website, you will see the t-shirts, which will be shipping out this week. And you can still place an order for those at PAWinc.org slash PAW hyphen t-shirts. And then you see here the convention. All of your questions as it pertains to the convention will be found right here, pawinc.org/convention. So let me just click on the shirts. You guys asked a lot of questions about the t-shirt that I was wearing on the taping last week. And so they are here. You can order them in every size, and then we'll just ship them out to you. Okay. All right. So let's just go back to the main page where you can see everything that is pertaining to the convention. All convention information can be found here, pawinc.org/convention. All of your questions, what happens with your refund, what do I do with my hotel, where is the next convention? All those questions are right here, and information about the virtual convention that will take place July 29th through August the 1st. So all of your convention information is there. All right, let's go back to the home page again. Okay. PAW Strong. You're going to hear more about this from our leaders, but just to touch on it, just to share it with you, it is the Pandemic Aid Worldwide Campaign, hashtag PAW Strong. All the information about how you can support this effort, how you can give, how you can join this initiative to be a blessing to others is going to be at pawinc.org/PAWC. Again, all of this, just go to the pawinc.org main page and you can get all that information. Okay. Your questions about Sunday school materials, they have begun shipping. So you should have received tracking information about your Sunday school materials by now. They begin shipping. And also, if you have materials that you want to order, you can just go to the pawinc.org/e-store and go to the bookstore, and you can order any assortment of materials or what have you that you might want to have available to you. Okay. So we'll revisit that again later on. We'll put those links up there. We'll put the information back up on the screen for you again later on in the broadcast. But that's everything that's going on with the PAW right now. If you are not connected to the newsletter is in the description of this video, wherever it is that you're watching. The newsletter link is in there. You'll want to get connected with the newsletter because this is how we send out everything to you. This is how we stay connected. And so we want to be able to give you information as soon as possible. All right. Enough about that. Let's talk to, I'm looking at my phone here, guys, because I just want to make sure that everything that we can see, that you can also see, and that you're good. As you're coming in, let us know what council you're watching from, what city and state you're watching from, and we'll shout you out at the end of this broadcast. Okay. So I want to bring our first guest on. Evangelist Lynne Shivers. She attends Greater Grace Temple in Taylor, Michigan, serves as the administrative assistant to her pastor, Bishop Gary Harper. She's also the general secretary for the Northern District Council. And she's also a regional vice president with a Fortune 500 financial services company. And she's here to chat with us today about finance. Evangelist Shivers, how are you?
Praise the Lord, Evangelist Nietzsche. How are you?
I'm doing well. Excited to have this conversation with you because we have found ourselves in a unique situation. In some capacities, maybe we could have done a little bit more preparation. But now that we know where we are, I think that a conversation like this is beneficial so that we can prepare for the future. Not only should something like this happen again, but just to be prepared in general. So I have a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you, if that's okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so let's start here. Let's just kind of go to the basics. How realistic is it to build financial security today? Can we really do that? Because oftentimes I think that we feel like we can't. I think we feel like paycheck to paycheck is just a normal way, or only being able to save a little bit is a normal way. But can we actually, in this day and time, build financial security?
Yeah, thank you, Evangelist Nietzsche. That's a really important question, and I'm sure that a lot of people are wondering right now, is that something that they can do? And one of the things that I just would like to say is that whatever you put your mind to do, you actually can do it. We know that 8 to 10 out of people who work every day are living paycheck to paycheck. So particularly when this COVID-19 pandemic hit and a lot of the stay-at-home orders was mandated, that people found themselves in a very precarious situation. Some people were going to work, or some people weren't going to work and they were able to get, work at home remotely and still get paid. And then others just lost all income altogether. So can you do that? Yes, but you have to plan for it. We find that a lot of people don't plan to fail. They just fail. They fail to plan. They're not thinking about those what if times. And if I'm out of money for a period of time, how long do I need? Now the numbers I'm going to share with you are going to be a little bit different, right? Because if I'm only making about $30,000 a year, about $2,500 coming in every month, then that means that I need about 2 to 3 months to be able to make it through, and I need to be able to save about that 2 to 3 months, the 3 to 6 months. I need to be able to save that money so that I have some backup. We don't know what's going to happen, but the Lord always wants us to be able to plan, to be thinking about what we need to prepare for in those times of uncertainty. We know that God is with us. We know that he'll be there with us, but he also gives us wisdom. So if I think about, having that emergency fund, right? And I like to call them the 333. So the emergency fund, 3 to 6 months. I need to have some money backed up. So some of my clients that I've been working with over the last 3 years, and even if they save just $50 a month over that first year, that's like $600 times 3 years. That's $1,800 times 5 years. That's $3,000. And so just having that kind of backup money, that's so important. The second one is having that short term, that again, that 3 to 6 years. It may be a down payment for a home. It may be, to put a good sized down payment for a car. It might be a vacation I want to go to, go on. I need to have that kind of money already saved up. And then the last way is having that long-term retirement savings, where I'm looking at, again, 30 years and more, that I need to be able to save up, that I can retire in the lifestyle I've gotten accustomed to. So we have to remember that as we go on in life, we're going to have certain things that are going to catch us off guard. And having that money already in place brings a lot of peace to that family and to that individual.
Yeah, that's really good information, you guys. I see your comments popping up. I know you have questions. Drop your comments in the comment section, and we will try to ask those of Evangelist Shivers and in a few moments. But go ahead and drop them in the comments, and we'll do our best to get to some of those. Okay. All right, Evangelist Shivers, I have a second question for you. Women, it is said that women statistically outlive men. What can women do to provide financial security for themselves for the future?
Absolutely. I think that, that across, not only in the United States, but in other countries as well, women outlive men. And there's all sorts of reasons for that. It could be environmental. It could be the work that they're doing, the lifestyle that they're having. But women tend to outlive their men in their lives anywhere from 5 to 10 years. So you can think about that if you have lost your husband in your 60s or 70s, or whoever is helping to provide income into your home or provide for you. If that person is no longer doing that, look at the situation you have found yourself. One of the saddest things I found is that there is I call her Betsy, was a woman that used to work as a cashier at the big Kmart we have here in our city. And she was like in her early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. And as I came through the line one day, there she was on the cash register, struggling to figure out how to work the keys so that she could punch through, people's items and get them checked out. And as she was going slowly, the line was forming up behind her, and behind me. And you can see that people weren't being as patient. I felt so sorry for her. And what I had come to find out was that her husband had passed away, and there she was, trying to make ends meet. She had come back into the workforce, but not at the job that she had left, but much, much later in life, and then needing to find resources, find income. When that store closed down, that big Kmart, the store that hired her at her age, when they closed down, I have often wondered what have happened to her. We see that in the Bible, there are a lot of stories about widows and how God has provided for women. In fact, a lot of the miracles about women, about widows are in the Bible, talk about what God has done or the prophet has done to help them. One of my favorite stories is in 2 Kings chapter 4, 1-7. And it talks about this woman, this widow who came to Elijah, and she was like, my husband, he was one of your prophets. He served you, and now the creditors have come, to take take my children, my sons, because they were in debt, and they wanted to take them for bondmen, for slaves. And she didn't know what to do. But one of the things that she did, and I thank God, she went to the man of God. She went looking for answers. And many of us find ourselves trying to figure out what's going on, and we're beating our heads up against the wall, and we're asking God what to do. You need to get help somewhere. You need to go talk with somebody, find out where those resources are. But here she was able to go to the man of God, and he asked her, he said, what do you want me to do? Well, what's in your house? And she says, I have nothing. But then she remembered, save a pot of oil. Think about that. And he said, take that pot, go ask from all of your neighbors. He said, don't get a few, get many of them to go out there and get as many pots that your sons can bring in, to the house. They brought the pots, and he said, then close the door behind you. Why? Because when God gives you an idea, you don't need to share with everybody. Everybody's not going to be looking out for your best interest, right? And so she was able to shut the door behind them, and she used that one oil that she had in that pot of oil, and she filled all of those other vessels. And then the other instructions was to take that and to sell them and pay off her debt. And that's what she did. And it's just so encouraging. I think about that. The number of people that have made, I have friends of mine, I didn't know they could sew, and they're making masks. Okay. I was like, I didn't know you even knew what a needle and thread was.
But and then maybe they didn't know how, but they saw an opportunity and they jumped in there and figured it out.
Absolutely. He's the master of invention, right? So God gives us, look around your house, look around what you have. It's on your computer. Some people can do graphic design, or you can do, online, interviews or podcasts, whatever. Find other ways, just looking around, because what you need may already be in your house, but God has to give you the creativity to how to use it.
That's true. You preached a whole word right there, and we could have a whole hour-long conversation about that on another day. But that is true. We definitely are in that time where we need to look at what we have and see what God has already provided us with, so that we can make ends meet and beyond ends meet with what we have now. The last question I want to ask you is, in general, with COVID-19, something that we didn't expect, unpredictable. At the beginning of it, didn't know if it was left, right, north, east, south, or west. Has this, do you feel, changed the way that we navigate our finances going forward? Has it changed the way that we think about money, how we feel about money, and how we navigate finances from this point forward?
Yes, I actually have a 2-word phrase for right now, and it's assume nothing. Because you don't know which way things are going to go. The only one who knows is God, right? And I believe that God will direct our steps. I just believe that. And that what we're going through right now, it might have been uncertain for us. It might be a surprise for us, but it's not a surprise for God. What He knows the end from the beginning, so it's not that we just got to get God's direction and what He wants us to do. I have seen churches pivot during this period of time, which has been amazing. There was this one church, in fact, that didn't really have an online presence. They didn't have online donations. They didn't have that through their website, at least through their church. They were only collecting offerings on, doing they had in-person meetings. But since the COVID-19 pandemic, and they've had to, close their doors for a period of time, they've actually have instituted Cash App and Givelify. And the pastor has reported that he has members in other states that are giving to his ministry. And so we need to see that this is a different time. We're still able to reach our people. We're still able to, touch them. I call it high touch, like in my business, it's high touch and high tech. I'm still able to meet with my clients 100% face to face on my laptop, where 95% of my business was either I'm sitting at their table or they're sitting in my office, right? But I've been able to pivot, and I think you have to pivot. It's like a moving train, right? You cannot jump on a train when it's in full motion. The only time you can jump on a train is when it started to take off. And God is starting to show us something that we need to do things a little bit different. We can have, where churches, we may only be able to have 50 people in the pews, but we're going to have 500 hits, of people. We may need to think about having virtual membership, right? That people are able to connect with us, connect with our church, want to be part of our church, but they can't make it to the building per se. We need to reach beyond our borders, which I mean the borders of the four walls of the church, and to know that there's a bigger world that God is trying to reach. I have been amazed at watching what God is doing during this time.
Some very unique things.
It's been amazing to see what He's.
You've shared some very, very valuable information, and I want to give an opportunity for just a couple of questions that have come in while you were talking.
Absolutely.
Guys, as you're watching this broadcast, drop your questions in the comments section. Let us know where you're watching from. We have two amazing ladies that are on with us today whose information is invaluable. Helen Crawley Austin is going to be sharing with us in just a few moments, and the information that these ladies are sharing today is invaluable. So if you have questions, drop them in the comments section, and then also let us know where you're watching from. Let's go ahead and run a couple of those questions, and we'll give Evangelist Shivers a moment to answer them. Thank you, Rosie, from where you're watching from. Thank you so much for that. You're in Southern California. All right, Evangelist Shivers, Sam Collins is saying that he wants to start his own business. Is this the right time?
So you needed to look at a couple factors as far as you starting your own business. Number one, do you have not only just the actual talent and ability to do that, but then how much capital are you going to need to get it started? Banks aren't really loaning right now. In fact, you can't even get into the lobbies of banks. You have to just go through the drive-through. So you want to look at, as far as it being a good time, what resources can I have? Let's say you have a computer at home. You can do a lot of things from your computer. You can market from your computer. You can do, but if you don't have if you only have a cell phone and you're trying to do business, that's not going to work. So there's always equipment that is needed. And I would kind of, what the Bible says, add up the cost. What do I need to have to make this work? A lot of people start business because they have the talent, but they don't have any of the managerial skills. They don't have the fiscal skills of making that business work. So in my line of work, my company, I have a business within a company. Over the last 2 months, we actually hired 70,000 new representatives to our company, because we can do this 100% virtually. So if you're going to have a business right now, how mobile, how effective, how I would say flexible can it be?
That's right.
If it's person to person, it may not work. But if you can do your business from your laptop, from your iPad, from your cell phone, as well as when the opportunity opens, that you can be face to face with somebody, that would be the best thing to do.
Sam, did you get your answer? I believe you did. Evangelist Shivers, you have been amazing. You have shared with us from your heart, and also just some really invaluable information. I really believe that this is a great time for us as the body of Christ. You said the word pivot, and that's what we're doing right now. Is we have to pivot. We have to maybe do things a little differently than what we did before, because nothing is going to return to the way that it was
I am not
before this
assuming
happened.
that. I say assume
Yeah.
nothing. Assume that we're not going back to business as usual. It can't be. We have been in this too long to go back to what was.
That's right. Will you share with everybody how they can connect with you on social media, online, all of
Yes,
that information?
yes, absolutely. My name is Lynne, and that's with an E, Lynnne, Shivers. And certainly send me a message on Facebook, or you can also send me, message me on Facebook. Send me an email at lynneshivers@yahoo.com. And I'll be more than glad to talk with you. This is an exciting time. My heart really does go out to a lot of people who've been affected and tragedy and deaths, from the COVID-19. But he is still in control. And we have to know that God is still in control. I am still working, but from my home, I'm working 12-hour days sometimes because I can meet with people anytime. But we have to see what the signs of what God is trying to show us. And if we can, hear what the Spirit is saying to the church, if we can really just get on board what God is doing, we will be successful. We will be better during this time. God has always taken tragedy and made it better. And I believe he's going to do that with the church of today.
Evangelist Shivers, thank you so much for what you shared with us today. Thank you for your time. You guys be sure to connect. If you enjoyed what Evangelist Shivers shared, be sure to drop a comment down below so that she'll see it, or throw up some hearts or something like that. Drop a comment below. Evangelist Shivers, thank you so much. God bless you. All right, everybody, as you're coming in, we are having a financial conversation. We're having a financial conversation. It's one that we are having at our dinner tables. We're phoning our friends on the phone. Did you get your stimulus check? I didn't get mine. Did you file for unemployment? What is your church doing? How are they handling, finances and resources and paying bills? These are the questions that are being had on a daily basis. And today, you are able to receive some golden nuggets from some amazing ladies who are experts in what they do. And Helen Crawley Austin is getting ready to bless us with some information. She is a blessing to churches and organizations worldwide, mastering money. And I believe that if your pastor, your leader, if they are not watching this video right now, I want you to send them a text message right now and let them know that information is going to be shared that is going to be a blessing for their ministry and for their church. So send a text message, send an email, hit the like button, hit the share button, tag your leader, tag your church members in this video, because you're getting ready to hear another layer of amazing information. My beautiful sister, how are you today?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm great. It's so awesome to be able to have this conversation with you. Before I start firing my questions off at you, just give us a little bit of insight on what it is that you do and how you navigate in and out through the fibers of ministries and churches.
So, first of all, let me start by saying I am an engineer. So, I'm an engineer, I'm a consultant, but my passion is helping people with money. So, my purpose in life is to help people make and manage money. And so it's interesting how God has evolved that. So for the last 10 years, I've been traveling around the country. I've been at the P.A.W. convention. I've been at several councils talking to pastors and congregations. And I have to tell you that I'm totally excited about two things. We got people talking about money, and we got to use technology. So, and those are my two worlds,
That's right? That's right.
So, the conversation for some is tough, right? But it's a conversation about money. I've been trying to get people to talk about money for a long time, and either they want to talk about it or they don't want to talk about it. If they broke, they don't want to talk about it. They want to talk about it, right? But everybody talking about it right now.
Everybody's talking about money. So let's talk about it.
Everybody.
Drop your questions in the comments. Drop your questions in the comments, everybody, because I know you're going to have them. Drop them in the comments. Tag somebody. Share this video. And if you're watching it on the replay, watch it again. All right. So let me just fire some questions at you. Okay.
Okay.
So as it pertains to our leaders, our pastors, my heart goes out and has gone out for our leaders, because it kind of seemed like in the beginning, it didn't matter which decision that they made. people were going to have a problem if they went left, if they went right, if they stayed open, if they closed, if they kept employees, if they didn't. And it just seemed like they were kind of stuck in the middle. And my heart and my prayers went out to our leaders a great deal, and still do, as we navigate this. How should pastors and congregations mobilize financially after this aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic?
So, I think the first step for everybody is to stop and analyze where you are financially. So a lot of churches are going to have to say, how much do I have coming in? How much do I have going out? The model that God gives us for businesses and organizations is the same model that he gives us for our finances. And I always tell people, your household is your first business. That's your first ministry. That's your first church. If you can't manage that, you're going to have a hard time managing everything else. So the first step is to assess where you are. That means putting together a spending plan. Some people call it a budget. That's the B word. You can call it a spending plan. But churches have to do that too. And that will help you drive some tough decisions. You may have to take some actions. And the actions could be, you got to cut something, either in your ministry or in your household. It also could be, it's an opportunity for you to be generous because you have excess. And there's a lot of people who need that. So let me just say, let's talk about churches first. There's an organization in our country that studies the fastest growing churches in our country. And the fastest growing churches are the churches that are generous. What better time to be generous than now? And the churches that do that and are helping people are going to be the church that some people choose to go to when this is all over, because they're going to remember that church helped me when I was down, right? So if you have excess, you want to be generous. I mean, that's what the Bible is about, us meeting needs, right? And people will come to Christ when we're meeting needs. But if you're a family, you got to do the same thing. That might mean you got to cut something. You might not be able to go back to normal immediately. Things are going to be better at some point, but immediately, are there some cuts you can make? There's some things you can do without. I think we've all figured out we don't need as much money as we thought we did. We are in the house, you got to cook. It's taught a lot of people about how much money they're actually spending. So the first couple of weeks, everybody was nervous. All we did was spend on groceries. Now people shopping online, but at first we all knew how much we could save. I mean, people saving so much money because they're not going out. So you got to assess where you are and then figure out the appropriate actions to take. Some pastors are going to have to cut some stuff. They may have to cut some employees. They may have to cut back on some of the ministries that they have until things ramp back up. And that's a hard decision, to have to cut people or ministries or activities or some of the things that you're doing. But I think the decision and the actions are consistent regardless if you're a ministry or if it's in your household.
One of the things that you shared there, which kind of goes along with the pivot, is taking a look at where you are and what you're doing. Oftentimes, I think that we go and we just kind of navigate blindly, and we're just like, okay, as long as that one bill was paid, I don't need to look at the whole scope of everything that I'm doing, everything that I have going on. And that's just in our household, in a personal environment. But then when we talk about it in a larger environment, we're looking at companies who are now allowing their people to work from home. They're adjusting the entire scope of how they navigate going forward. And so we as a church are going to have to navigate it. And a lot of the ways that we're navigating, I think we're going to look back at it and see that it really, was just a time for change. It was an opportunity for change, and it's an opportunity for us to seize it.
You know what? And for some reason, there's a number of people who just haven't paid attention to money. They just haven't. Some ministries haven't, some people haven't. And this is forcing people. I'm getting calls from all over. I've been doing paycheck protection program seminars for the last 10 days, no sleep. We probably helped people get over $10 million in funding just because they didn't understand. But through that, I've gotten so many questions from pastors like, help me get my PPP money, or I don't qualify for PPP because I wasn't doing it right. I didn't W-2 people. I weren't I wasn't giving them 1099s, and if you can get access to any of the money. So it's causing people to step up and look at kind of what they're doing and how do I do it right? When this is over now, how do I get it together and do it right? And even from a budget, I had a pilot budget exercise. I had 10 people, I asked for 10 people, the first 10 people, and then I cut it off. And I had them on Zoom, I had them take their bills out. They actually did a budget with me on Zoom. I'm actually going to do, so it was a pilot for me to test it all out. I'm going to do one again next Monday at 7 p.m. Central. So if you follow me at all and you want to do a budget, it's absolutely free. I will help you do that budget, and at the end we'll talk about how to get access to that. But yeah, it's time now to really look at kind of, what we're doing and where we're going to go as far as, when this pandemic is going to be over at some point. And how do we learn from that?
What do you feel are the 3 to 4 top items that pastors should focus on? I know you talked about looking at where we were, making some changes there, but what are the kind of key things that we should hunker down on and look at? So,
this question is a good one because I'm getting calls from pastors. I'm getting calls from bishops. And the one thing I think that is a key learning, and this is not just for pastors, but for all of us, is that we need to have a relationship with a community bank. The big banks failed us throughout this pandemic. So some people filled out information to get access to some of the dollars and never heard nothing back. To this day, have never heard anything. People going to community bank are hearing back immediately, or their community bank called them. So for pastors, I really, really advise you to find a community bank to partner with. Know the VP's name. Even if you don't need any money, you could even establish a line of credit. And when you need it, you already got it, right? Same thing with us. Like, we were going to the Bank of Americas and Chase. They wasn't even answering the phone, right? But we all got to start getting a relationship with a community bank or a VP or somebody, cultivating that relationship so we have access if we ever need it. So that's one. I wrote some of these things down. So another thing that we need to do for churches, now is an opportunity to look at, do I need to readjust my debt service or my mortgage? Do I need to figure out how to reduce that payment, that burden, so that I'm not living stressed out? And the same thing with mortgage forbearance. You have to be careful about the mortgage forbearance. Everybody was like putting their mortgages in forbearance. But some banks are making you July 1st, you got to pay all those 3 months.
Yeah, so that was the catch there. That was the catch there. And to have clarity going into when you put things in forbearance or delayed payments, when were you going to have to actually make the official payment?
So most of the banks are giving you a couple options. Right? You could either pay the lump sum, which if you ain't got it now, 1 month, how you going to have 3 months, right? The second thing is they will allow you to remodify. Now, here's where I think is going to be a huge issue, because, I'm traveling to churches, I'm helping people repair their credit report, and some people got some jacked credit reports. You have to have a decent credit report to modify. So what if you can't modify and you don't have the money for the 3 months? You're in trouble. So while we're at home, we ought to be looking at our credit reports, especially if you put your house in forbearance, because you will be in foreclosure, because you only got a couple options. One depending on your credit report, one depending on your bank account. And if you don't have either, you're going to be in bad shape. But we got till July 1st. You can fix your credit report in 30 days.
Yes, you can.
So you can go to privacyguard.com, get all 3 of the credit reports and a trial membership for $1 and start working.
All right. What else?
Okay. One last thing. The last thing is, for churches, I would encourage all pastors to find a professional to help them with their finances. So, I know we got deacons that's been there for 20 years that are helping us with our finances because we trust them. But now is the time to really get it could be a virtual CFO. It doesn't even have to be full-time. It could be somebody that you only use a couple hours of their time, but they're keeping your books together so that if you do need to have W-2 employees, they can walk you through that. If you do need to give out 1099s, you can keep them as a contractor. You can still pay your musician as a contractor, but you want to give them a 1099 at the end of the year. And those are some of the things that you need a professional to help you with, or semi-professional. And then I think that I have this message that financially healthy families make financially healthy ministries. And so to the degree in which you help people understand the importance of financing, the importance of the Joseph plan, and the Joseph plan is saving, right? You have to have, I think Evangelist Shivers said you have to have an emergency plan, right? But it's people we're not taught finances, not in high school, not in college. They're starting to do a little bit better, but most people have never been taught how to manage their finances. The Bible's full of parables. We could look at Matthew 25, the talents, right? We are responsible for investing what God gives us to manage. And so I think sometimes our churches can take the opportunity to help our congregations learn about money and saving, so that if something like this happens, they can still tithe and they can still give because they still got it. But if I ain't got no job and I ain't got no savings, I sure enough can't give.
That's right. Guys, we are receiving invaluable information here. As I mentioned before, we see your comments. We see that you're sharing in the comments. You can continue to do that. I want to bring Evangelist Shivers back in, and we just have a conversation here really quick.
Okay.
One of the things that Evangelist Shivers, Sister Austin, everybody oftentimes does not start because they don't think that they have what is needed to start. We always see what, from the outside looking in, we look at the person who we think has it all together. And so it can appear that you cannot attain anything if maybe you don't have as much money as someone else, or you're not able to invest starting out as much as someone else, or you're not able to move as fast as someone else. What would both of you say to the person who maybe does not have the exact financial situation that they would like to have, but they want to begin to grow, want to begin to save, want to begin to put things aside for their family? What would you say to them in this moment?
I have a story. I had a young lady who was in one of my Mastery Money debt-free groups, and she had no savings, zero. And I said, well, you got to cut some fat out of your budget and figure out how to save, or you'll always be in this situation, right? And she said, I had none. I said, okay, let's do an exercise for 1 month. I want you to use cash only. No debit cards, no credit cards, just cash. Cash will force you to spend 20% less.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. If I give you a 20 and you only hand me back $4, I'm looking at that $4 like, this
right.
Right.
If you go in a grocery store with $100, you got to put some stuff in it.
It will.
You know what I'm saying? She saved $900 that month. Wow. Just by using cash.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So one of the things I do with Mastering Money is I have monthly challenges, right? So I had a whole bunch of people doing cash only for the month, or I'll have no eat out for the month. Everybody got to cook. We already know now from this pandemic, but we did this a couple of years ago.
Yes.
So every month there was a different challenge to help people realize that you really can save. The goal in life, the goal in the financial game is to spend less than you make.
Absolutely.
That's just simple.
Evangelist
don't matter however much God's blessed you with, your challenge is to spend less than what you make.
True. Evangelist Shivers, chime in.
Yes, absolutely. I so agree with Dr. Austin there, that I tell you this, if you don't start somewhere, you're getting nowhere. You can't. So a lot of people want to have money. Look, I meet with people who make $20,000. I meet with people who make $200,000. The $20,000 person is broke, and so is the $200,000 person. Because if you don't know how to budget little, you are not going to know how to budget later. It's just not going to happen. So it's a mental, it's an attitude. You know, I don't have credit cards. You know, I have a debit card so that if there's no money in the bank, then I can't spend money. Look, let me tell you, COVID has taught me that I never would have thought this. I can dye my own hair. Okay. I have gone to a hairdresser for 40 years. But during this time, I learned how to go buy my own products and do my own hair.
Wow.
So it saved me, what? It saved me $40, you know, 45, whatever it was. And so, but you have to start somewhere, and certainly cutting out the fat. There's a lot of things that we're just so used. You can get in a habit of spending unconsciously. You know, you're just used to just going out. You're just used to spending, eating out 3 or 4 times a week or whatever. Whereas if you're more conscious about it, and if you write it down, I actually do a financial needs analysis with people. You know, it's complimentary. It gives you a snapshot of where you are now and where you want to be in 30 years. Because listen to this. You might be making $30,000 right now, or getting that $2,500. That's going to add up to what, $73,000 30 years from now with just a 3% interest rate. If 30 years from now, when you need to be making $73,000 and you're only making 30, what kind of lifestyle do you have? You know, so
Interesting one.
It's a mindset. I don't care what it is. Everything from losing weight, knowing how to cook, knowing how to do your hair, knowing how to budget. It's just a mindset.
Let me ask you all one last question before we go. What should we be doing as far as saving, percentage wise, with our income? What should we be doing? We all are aware of our tithe, but how should we be living off of? What should we be putting aside? Evangelist Shivers, share that with us from a personal standpoint, and then Helen Austin, share that with us from maybe a business or organization standpoint, how we should be navigating our money. Evangelist Shivers, go ahead.
Right, absolutely. Our tithes and offering is still very important, right? Whatever you get in, I think about, as difficult as it might be during this time, I'm not going to also steal from God, because that kind of just doesn't make sense to me, but sometimes you need to ask God to give you that little bit of breathing room, when it's been really, really tight. And I think we all go through tight times in our life. And you have to know how to manage that. But starting, if I hear the question correctly, you're saying where to start, the evangelist needs. I just want to make sure.
With our income,
yep.
What should we be living off of? What should we be setting aside to save?
Right.
What should we be
doing that budget or that financial analysis? You have to take a really good picture. It's just like, wearing, reading glasses, right? I mean, I can see, but I see better when I have my glasses on. And it's the same thing. I may know where my money is, but if I'm going to get a really clear picture, I need to get some assistance with that. And oftentimes we can't do it ourselves because we're caught up in the middle of it. We don't know which way to stop or where to go. We might be overpaying in different areas and underpaying in others. And so having someone to actually walk you through that and help you to see it, having that financial coach. The reason why people do fail, they don't have the financial education. Where were we taught? I said, people don't know simple things like how long it takes your money to double. They don't know the rule of 72. They don't know about dollar cost averaging. They don't know about paying yourself first. These are just very simple and very simplistic things that you can do that will totally change your financial trajectory from this point going forward. Yeah. So it's not about what you don't have. It's about using what you do have in a much wiser way.
Sister Austin, the church, the pastor who is looking at how to navigate his money or their money from this standpoint and what is coming in, how should they be dividing that money up to make sure that everything is okay in the months to come?
So, I mean, I think I mentioned earlier, I think the financial plan for organizations and businesses is the same as God's plan. He set the blueprint. So when I do my workshops, I show that. I show the God's plan, and then I show a financial business plan. And the overlap is absolutely amazing. The whole business world didn't come up with anything new. God came up with that. And so I believe every organization and every person should implement the Joseph plan, which is 20%. You ought to be saving 20%, and you ought to try to figure. Now, can you do that day one? Probably not. But you ought to be working toward, what do I need to do to get there? Right? And so that means, so for example, I had people cut their cable.
Now you're
Cut your
getting a little bit
cut
touchy
your
on
cable.
that
You
subject there, sister. Oh, you're getting a little touchy.
no, because listen, there's internet cable these days. You can get
Yes,
2,600 cables and
that's
not pay.
true.
If I'm going to live my life, I have people calculate how much they're going to make in their lifetime.
Mhm.
Even if you just got a high school diploma, you're going to make $1 million in your lifetime. Do you want to spend 50,000 of that to cable? All
That's
right,
true.
how much of that lifetime chunk are you going to spend on cars? And then you ain't got a house. So I'm spending my effort on helping people get well. I do home ownership sessions. We walk them through. We fix credit reports in a week. Cause don't. I mean, if you really want to help, we'll get you a house. Because you gotta help people get wealth. And my belief is that I've got to help congregations in order to help a church. I could tell a pastor all day to save 20%, but if their people ain't saving 20% and they ain't got it, there's no way his ministry can save 20%, right?
Yeah, ladies, you have been invaluable today. I chuckled about the cable because I guess that's my one thing. I just be holding on to. But we do have to look at where we can trim the fat and make things make sense. And so these are conversations that we will continue to have so that we can continue to enrich the body of Christ, enrich those around us, because we want to do well. We want to be great. I see that you all are watching from everywhere. Let's go ahead and put some of those comments up there, ladies, so that you can see where everyone is watching from. We appreciate your time today that you took out of your schedule to share with us. Sister Austin, will you share where everyone can connect with you on social media and online?
So on Facebook, it's and I do a Mastering Money Monday tip every single Monday at Helen Crawley Austin on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram for Helen Crawley Austin, and my website is helencrawleyaustin.com. So you should be able to find me all over the place.
Well,
So
I appreciate you, Evangelist Shivers. I appreciate
Thank
both of
you.
you for sharing today. It was an honor to sit in the stead of our presiding bishop, Bishop Theodore L. Brooks, today with this conversation. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed chatting
thank
with you all.
you.
Thank you, ladies, so much. And you guys enjoy your day. For everyone else who is watching, we see your comments. Let me shout out some of you really quickly. And if you enjoyed this conversation, drop something in the comments. Tell us that you enjoyed it. Share this video with someone. This is information that I want to share with my friends and family that I know, because I want to see us all do well. So if you feel that way, share the video. Also drop some comments. Let's see who is great information. Adrian Trotter says great information. Who else do we have? Mobile, Alabama, Dolores Bethel. Thank you so much for watching today. V. Marie Taylor, good advice. Thank you so much for watching today. Sheila Johnson, wonderful. We need this information. Yes, we did. Thank you so much for watching today. Jerry, you cut the cable? She said, I did. I cut the cable. All right. God advice. All right. Eula Payne Williams says, thanks for this information. All right. I'll take two more. Higher ground, savings in hand at home. All right. And Julia Burr's very useful information. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Don't forget that you can go to PAWinc.org for all the resources for the t-shirts. We probably have just a few of those left. So if you do want one of the t-shirts, let me show them to you guys just one more time. If you do want one of the t-shirts, you definitely want to go ahead and grab those today. You definitely want to grab them today. And they are shipping out at the end of this week. So if you would like to get a t-shirt, make sure that you do that. Questions about the convention right here, God's Promise to Perform, the virtual convention, July 29th through August the 1st. And then also the P.A.W. Strong Pandemic Aid Worldwide campaign that our leaders are going to share more in depth with you in the coming days. And then also all of your Christian education materials. Make sure that you grab the May-June issue of the Christian Outlook. Bishop Gators is featured on the front. He has an amazing testimony, and there's some other great stories and really great information that is in there that I promise you're not going to want to miss it. So we're putting in those orders now. So you want to go to pawinc.org/eStore, or we'll put the link in the description box so you can go straight to it and order your Christian Outlook materials, your 2020 Sunday School commentary, is still available for purchase. It is available for purchase at a discounted rate until June 1st. After June 1st, while supplies last, that price will go up. So hop online today and make sure that you order your books today. All right. I appreciate you guys for allowing us to come into your homes and into your workplaces today. God bless you, and we'll see you soon.